Anne from Oakville Crafts. Today I'm going through a Card A Cuppa event that I would normally run at the Holme Grange Garden Centre. What am I saying garden centre for? Craft Village, which is about 5 minutes drive from where I live. It's a cute little place. It has a really nice coffee shop, which is where I hold the Card A Cuppa. Normally when I do Card A Cuppa, it's everyone gets the same kit. I take a stamp set. Everything is pre-cut, and I usually design 3 cards which people can copy or go off piece, do their own thing. It's entirely up to them. So this week I'm featuring cards for men in the class. So I thought I would actually do cards for men today as well. So I'm actually using the Come Sail Away suite. So it's the Sailing Home stamp set, and I've also used the dies. So these are the coordinating dies. I don't often take my big shot with me, primarily because it's just so heavy to carry around. So if I'm going to do any die cutting or embossing, then it will be done at home, and I'll just take all that with me prepared. So this is the smooth sailing dies. So I've actually used I used that one, and I used the rope. So I've actually pre-cut 3 for everybody, or at least that's what I would normally do. And then obviously I take the stamp set and ink. So these are 2 cards that I have already made. So this is all the same kit, and I'll run through the kit first so you can actually see for yourself. So it all comes in a neat little plastic envelope. This is the first die, so that's like the length of rope, so it actually die cuts and it embosses it. This is for sentiment, or whatever you want to do. So as I said, I die cut a knot in the rope. Piece of designer series paper. Then there's the base card, which people can use if they want to. They can either go portrait or they can go landscape. It's entirely up to them. And then there's usually an outer and an innie, so that people can do their own thing inside, and an envelope. Depending what I'm actually doing, well, depends obviously on what's actually going to be in the kit. And then people can then within that do what they want. I also normally take extra cardstock and scraps so that people can pull things out and do other things if we're doing punching and things. So this is the first card that I made. So I simply stamped the compass all over. In fact, it's under there as well. Glued the designer series paper on. I always make the paper just a little bit too long so that people can trim. That way there's not going to be any white and things showing. This little bit of rope here, as you will see, it's not long enough. So it's simply cut and then stuck on. Stamped thanks in the Night of Navy. Punched it out with a 1.5 inch punch, and then adhered it to the label. So simple, effective, and then I decided I was going to use the rope. People don't always use everything. Some people choose not to put sentiments on. That's fine. It's really up to them what they want to do. And then for the inside, I actually I stamped 2 compasses because I suddenly realised that I didn't actually get them the right way around. So that was the first one, and it was supposed to be in that corner, but then I turned it around and stamped it again. So that's one of the things you do need to be careful, because actually if you look really closely, some of these are upside down, but it doesn't really matter. So that was the first one. The second one, let's move that out the way, is the boat. Now, I stupidly went back to move this because I wasn't happy with that position. Well, it was actually a bit further down, and I had ink on my hands, which is why that's got ink on, so I'm sorry about that. So this one, I actually started stamping with the smaller of the yachts. Now my Night of Navy is pretty inky, so I actually stamped off twice before I stamped that image because I wanted to have a fainter image to give it a perspective that it was a bigger boat but far away. And then that's just the first inking of that one. So I sort of placed this but didn't glue it on so that I knew how much open space I had. So I did that first, then I glued that, because there's nothing worse than gluing that and then stamping that and then realising you made a boo-boo, and then you have to turn over, but you've already glued your paper. So it's far easier just to sort of place that in position, but don't glue it, and then stamp, and then when you're happy, then glue that piece on. So that's what I did. Again, the rope is the same effect as that previous one, so it's actually cut in the middle. And then I stamped that sentiment, the set sail in the direction of your dreams, in Night of Navy, punched it out with a 1.5 inch punch, and glued it directly onto the label. So that one, don't know if you can see, has foam pads under here and under there. Hopefully you can see that. And then this one, simply glued, and then but there are foam pads underneath there, and don't look because that's where I moved it, and you can still see the old foam pad. And again, I just simply put a boat in the middle for the innie. So those were those two cards. So I'm actually going to make the third card, and I don't know if this is still going, but I'm going to still keep going because it seems that my internet is playing up. And so anyway, so this is my kit. So I have my envelope, I have my 2 pieces of Whisper White, got my piece of Designer Series paper, and I've got my 3 bits of die cut. I also brought some scrap Whisper White, my Night of Navy ink pad, which, as I said, is very juicy. It doesn't look it, but it is. So for this one, I've decided I am going to turn my card and I'm going to make it landscape rather than portrait. So I'm probably going to put my Designer Series paper about there. Now, the nice thing about the grid paper, if you line up the paper, your cardstock, with the grids, you then, when you come to gluing things, you actually know then that you do have things level, she says, but she doesn't actually have that straight. So like that. But I'm not going to glue just yet. That's just a tip for you. Grid paper is great for those sorts of things. So I've got the 2 boats, and I just need to kind of figure out what I'm going to do with them. So I think I'm going to place that one there, and then I'm going to put that one there because they're going in opposite directions. I'm not sure that I want them looking as if they're going to bump into each other. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to ink up. Again, you don't need to go really heavy-handed on this. So line up my paper so I know roughly where I'm going. She says, nervous as heck. There you go. 1. Oh, there's a little bit on there, but I'm not too worried about that. And then I'm going to do the other. Oops. There we go. So that's that. So that's pretty much that. I'm just going to let that dry because it is a bit wet still. I'm actually still going to use the same sentiment as one of the other cards. So I'm going to use the set sail. So I'm going to just stamp that. Now I want to punch this out. So I don't really want to be going and stamping in the middle. If you turn your punch upside down, doesn't matter if that's upside down because it's just basically a circle. So you don't. Number of people in class have said, but it's upside down, it's a circle. So you just simply turn it around and punch through. So that's that. So I'm going to close that ink pad before anything else gets before I do anything else. So this one's going to go there. I think that's going to go there. All right, that should be dry. I'm going to glue this. Oh heck, don't you love Tombow? It's not so long ago that I used it. So this is the designer series paper, and as you can see, it's images on both sides, so that's nice. So I'm gonna, oops, I think I'm gonna line that back up with those bits, she says, and then she's not following her own advice. Typical, isn't it? So I'm going to line that up, and then I can see roughly, and the nice thing about the Tombow means that you can actually move things around a bit. Let's see, does that look straight? No, it still doesn't. I'll just carry on faffing. That'll do. Right, okay, and then I just realised that I didn't bring my scissors, so bear with me 2 ticks. I have to dash over and find them. That's that. So I'll quickly lop off those bits. I don't know where my paper snips have gone. They've disappeared. But hey ho. These work just as well. So that is going to go onto there. That's going to go onto there. So let's see, I'm going to glue that. Remember, when you're sending cards here in the UK, the thicker they are, the more they cost to post. So obviously if you're making a card and you're handing it to someone, it doesn't really matter. But if you are actually mailing something, then you want to think about how wide and how thick things are, because it's nice to be able to get it as a normal letter size rather than having to send it as a large letter. But so that's going to get glued on. Now there is a right and a wrong way to this. So the right side is where the little indents go in. This one they're kind of poking through. So you want to make sure that you get that the right way round. So that goes on there. Now this time I am going to use some dimensional, some foam pads. So you don't need to go too mad with these. I think I might just put one there. I'll just put that on. These things get everywhere. So I'm just, I think now, where are we going to go? Kind of in the middle, I think. So that's the outside. Obviously, if you're at home and you've got your die machine, then you can stamp these, cut them out. But not, as I said, normally at Card A Cuppa I don't have that luxury because it's just such a heavy thing to carry around. So I'm going to stamp the inside, and I think I'm just going to use a small bow on this one rather than the big. That's that. So that will get glued in there just to finish it off. Actually, I'm going to keep it out a second. Now, what am I going to do with this? I think I might stamp a bow on here, like that. That finishes that off. And then if I wanted to, then I could actually glue the knot on there, but I'm not going to. So really, that is it. So that's my third card. Obviously, you can change these things out. The kit's pretty flexible. If you want it, as I said, you can go landscape, portrait. You can do that as a landscape, as a portrait card, and all the others too. So it's pretty easy. And the envelope, and then that's the other cards. So that's it really. So that's the Sailing Home stamp set. Hope you enjoyed that. I will put this video up on YouTube, and when I do, I will actually link to a one-page notes which give you all the cutting instructions for the cards, and information of how to make them if you want to replicate them yourselves at home. Okay, well, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.